It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque, then in the same church, in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion. That is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness, by giving, will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 34th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be your host today. And once again, we'll be joined with Caroline Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And she will guide us through today's teaching and information that will be coming out. And as far as I know, I think Caroline is ready to go. I think she might have a bit of an iffy connection today, but as we work internationally around the world, this is what is to be expected from time to time. Are you there, Caroline?
Yes, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Whatever time zone you're in, I hope you have your nice fresh cup of coffee or tea. It's going to be a nice evening. We have a guest among us, Mr. Keshe. Are you there, please?
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm just listening. This time I'm not participating.
Oh, yes, you are.
Before you start, can I ask, I was coming to make an announcement later on, if you're still on. Can all the members or people who listen, please join the Keshe Foundation on Thursday morning? We have a very important announcement to make on Thursday morning. It will be one of the major announcements of the Keshe Foundation for past times. It's the ultimate goal of the Keshe Foundation announcements on what we said we are here to do. And it'll be nice to have you. And what is needed, once we made the announcement, please take the announcement with you, translate it into your language, and send it to every ambassador, governing bodies you know. It will be important. Immediately translate it to every language as possible that you know, and transmit it to every embassy. This is important. You will understand when it's done. And it is one of the crucial turning points for the Keshe Foundation and as our structure as an international organization. This is what we promised, and this is a fulfillment of the promise. The Keshe Foundation management team and others are working in the background heavily to have everything prepared for Thursday announcement. And please, we expect a change of course. Simultaneously, as usual, once we make the announcement, I personally will deliver a number of these announcements to the world ambassadors and world leaders who are our close contacts. And it's one of the most important announcements Keshe Foundation has ever made and will be for humanity. As one of the most powerful organizations in scientific direction and geopolitics, we need to bring this change in. And as head of the foundation, it's my job to make sure once we've done it, is done correctly, that we become one nation as we promised. One nation, one planet, one race. I have to go shortly, but please do not ask what it's going to be, but be ready to translate. And if this is what you all, millions of you around the world, been around the foundation for years, been waiting for, it's a fulfillment of a promise. And it will need all of us to bring that change in. I thank you all for all the time you spend and you've been around, but now it's time to make what I call the final delivery. Please listen on Thursday as part of the teaching, international teaching, and then is in your hand. And it's for all of us to make sure the world leaders know, the world ambassadors know, the governments know what is more or less will be the end of borders, and we got to be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. But I am 100% sure you will pop up to share more knowledge with us, because we're about to open the charter for the soul. Do you have the link ready? Rick, please.
Do you wish the public wish link? Is that what you mean? Or
No,
the Universal Council?
The Universal Council of the Charter, to open the Charter, to start working on that.
Okay. Okay, can you see that image?
Take optimization off.
I don't think I had it on. It's not on. Does it look fuzzy?
There we go.
Okay. You still there, Caroline? Oh, you're muted, I see.
Yes. Yes, I can see it. Thank you. If you can read the first lines, please.
Okay.
Or a couple of them.
Okay, I'll do that. The Universal Council Charter. Introduction. The Universal Council is here to serve each and every soul in the universe. This charter for humanity is recognizing all collective commitments of all souls on planet Earth and in the universes, and for all to be as equal. As the Universal Council journeys along this path of service, the Council guides to elevate all souls for them to bring peace on this planet and, in their process of travel and existence, in the universe as a whole. The Universal Council guarantees that souls who and which leave or live on this planet will obey the rules of peaceful coexistence on Earth and beyond, and the only course from this point on for all souls is to be in peace and in harmony at all times.
Thank you, Rick. I think we're going to start with this part. Are there any questions in this presentation about what is explained here, so that we can open it up for more understanding? I have seen that a lot of people have translated the charter. We already have two complete in French and in Italian. So more are going to be coming up so people can be comfortable to read it in their own language. No questions? Then maybe, Rick, we can carry on reading another part of it.
Oh, okay. The Council is and will be the true reflection of the whole of humanity on Earth and in space. The expression of this essence is the unity of all beings in the path of serving all unconditionally. This charter provides a bridge amongst all men and all inhabitants of this planet and between humanity and the universal community. Through the beauty of the soul of diversity of the languages spoken on planet Earth, all souls are as equal, and all are as creators as they are created in the image of the Creator.
We can maybe take a pause again, Rick.
Okay.
Anyone, any questions or want to expand on the understanding?
I was wondering about the paragraph, the Universal Council guarantees that souls who wish to either live or leave the planet will obey the rules of peaceful coexistence. And how, I guess the question might be, how is that affected, or how does that look in practice? Or what does that mean, really? That how can the council guarantee that souls will obey the rules of peaceful coexistence? What is that aspect of the Universal Council that will guarantee that? In other words, why won't it be just the way it's always been? What's so different with the Universal Council, I guess, is what my question might come down to. And my question is not just for myself, of course, it's for others that might wonder about that statement.
Mr. Keshe, are you still present, please? Is he still present?
No, he's not here.
Oh, he sneaked out.
Right at the point where we need him. Well, maybe we'll have to answer our own question in a way. And perhaps if we just look at the next couple of sentences, it sort of answers.
No, it is to be answered. But I thought maybe Mr. Keshe would have answered it, but it's fine. So once all the languages have taken their position as Universal Council members, we have the 3 steps, which is, it can be explained again because a lot of people or new people are not aware that we have the core team, which is working on soul level, which is a beautiful team. And they are always there wherever we are working. They are present and they are supporting. They have no voting right, but they are fully present with their soul and the support in the different levels of the foundation. And they are well aware what is going on the planet. And there is an interaction with the Earth Council, which is responsible for humanity. And then we have the Universal Council, which is each language member takes his position to represent, so that the information which is so much in language page of understanding as we ask to translate, because the energy field strength sits in your roots, the way where you come from. Your dialogue is much more easier because it goes and it appears in the same field strength. So as we are gonna grow in members, we are there to support on soul level fully the Earth Council to make sure that they can carry out wherever the changes need to be done. The guarantees are that the guidance will be there, the education will be there, the interaction with all the teams, as we call them, like the core team and the Earth Council and the Universal Council and the support members of the Universal Council will start growing and going into their own fields and work as one. And as we all know that we are working in field strength, once they start coming more and more as one, the guarantees will be given and will be in place because the teachings will be available. And it is also a growing process. Do you want more explanation on that one, Rick?
I think that pretty much nails it. And I was just going to say, they like this second sentence, especially the expression of this essence, which is the true reflection of the whole of humanity. The expression of this essence is the unity of all beings in the path of serving all unconditionally. So because it's under those sort of laws, you might say, it's it guarantees that that the rules of peaceful coexistence will prevail, because that's the heart of the whole Universal Council, basically. So,
if you remember in a lot of teachings of Mr. Keshe, that the universal community is already among us, and they will, and they are peaceful. They do not have, how can I say, they will bring and support humanity to go in that transition process. We will not be on our own, and we have never been on our own. So once the members will appear and announce themselves, then you will see the path opening up to a much more and a wider picture of how it can be done. But it's a slow progress, because we're all going to integrate all those new informations, new people, new way of living, new way of interacting. And we're getting there. And as Mr. Keshe has announced, we are going to a next step, which everyone has been waiting for. So we will see how those things will evolve. And through the teachings and so many knowledge seekers, the field strength is getting built, and we're going to build up on that, and which is standing as the ethos of the foundation. We all can go and expand on those points, which will bring that guarantee, because the complete commandments have been delivered, the Constitution has been delivered, the Universal Council Charter has been delivered, the world peace has been signed. So it's a matter of now growing in those processes and making sure that more people can become aware, to divert them, to go and read, because I think every single soul recognizes the way, as Rick used, rules, but in so many ways it's not rules. It's to take your own responsibility and to apply what is correct in so many ways. Nobody can judge you. You can only judge yourself. And the guidelines Mr. Keshe has brought, the councils have brought, and we are all supporting and teaching and opening them up. And we have open discussion platforms. And that's why we're asking people, please come and ask your questions if something is not clear for you. The foundation is working like one family. It's supporting like one family. It has been more than once explained through Mr. Keshe. The Keshe coin is there on the platform. The knowledge is there. The products are there. We teach you how to apply it, to bring the balance and to release so much pressure in so many people's lives. And the postings are getting really faster and faster in people showing what they're doing, how they're doing it, and they're teaching, which is amazing. I don't see professors from universities or from anywhere or from businesses when they have new developments or they have discovered something. I don't see them coming in public domain and teach these classes for free, as education should be free for every single person, for whatever you're looking for should be available. So Keshe Foundation family, with their knowledge seekers, they start standing out as teachers. The Universal Council members will support them. They start creating the networks of communication to see where they can even provide more and more support. But it's a slow growing process. But once people start getting the confidence that the knowledge seekers are there and they're not disappearing and they're always there to give you an answer and to support you, that's where the trust is getting built as a Keshe family. Thank you, Rick.
Now that was an answer. Thank you very much, Caroline. It was very, very thorough, and I think that establishes very well that guarantee. Okay, shall we progress through the charter a bit more, or would you?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Or if anyone has any questions or wants to have more detail, or maybe can share their opinion about what is getting done.
Brett has something he would like to say, so perhaps we can hear from Brett.
Caroline. Could we just scroll up to the very first sentence, please? Okay. Now, just go down. Okay. The Charter for Humanity is recognizing all collective comments or commitments of all souls on the planet of Earth and the universes, and for all is equal. Just go down a bit further. I had maybe it's just a brain fart, or sorry, but
you had what?
I had a thought earlier on, and I'm just trying to bring it back because I thought it was really important. Please let me just read it a couple of times.
Take your time. Can you find it where you wanted to bring us back?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What is your question in this one?
Well, okay. I guess the point where the point where I wanted to bring was that creation itself is what we are part of, and we are, and it was just in the first part that I read it, and I could have added to it, and just let me read this for a couple of secs, please. It'll take a couple of secs. The Universal Council is here to serve each and every soul in the universe and creation. And creation, because if we are part of creation and we understand creation, therefore we are part of it. That was all I wanted to say. It was really because it has relevance further on down as this reads. The Universal Council is here to serve each and every soul in the universe and creation, or in the universe or in creation. Because as you read further down, if you take that first statement as something to do with creation, because the reason I pull this forward, there is method to the madness. Because if we understand creation as it is, that these creational forces are working in microbes in the ground, they're working within us, they are working within everything that's around us. If we don't really recognize creation itself, then maybe just a little bit we might have missed the point. That's my point. I'm sorry to...
Do you mean we're here to serve creation? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what the statement is. We're here to serve each and every soul in the universe. You're saying you're here to serve
well, yeah, because creation, we're part of creation. If we don't actually understand that we are part of a creation, and then you can't really see around you how creation works, then from my perspective, the charter kind of gets a little bit mixed up. So what I'm thinking about here, let me put it into perspective. When I make a GANS and I put my thought into that GANS that I wish it to do this or do that, the GANS, I am part of creation. The GANS is part of creation. So therefore, I am part of creation. I can put anything that I wish into that GANS. So therefore, creation is all around us. It's in the ground, it's above, it's doing what it wishes us to do to move forward in the evolutionary state. So this is what I only wish it's okay to disagree with me. I'm totally okay with that. But the Universal Council is here to serve each and every soul in creation, because then it has relevance as it moves down. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you very much for listening. I love you all. Thank you.
I still don't get really your point, because you're intermingling a lot from different parts. So if you can rephrase it or put it in 3 different topics, then maybe we can follow. Or did you understand it, Rick?
Well, I'm not sure where the distinction is there.
Yeah, that was my problem too.
Okay.
Because, and we're not here to change the document. That's the thing about it. Maybe there's something that there could be an aspect or point here that you think is missing or incomplete in the perspective. So maybe we could pursue that more. But we can't. The documents can't be changed until what, next year? Is that the way it goes, Caroline?
That's okay. That's okay. I only just want everybody to think about just one thing. Creation itself is everywhere, it is everything. So if creation thinks that it would create something in the soil to give life to a particular thing, creation just thinks it and it does it. So when the time comes for this
I start to get to understand.
No, I see.
You need a soul.
Exactly, yes. Soul,
and it's the soul which has already been created previously, or a new soul which is getting or is in the progress of creating. That is what is happening. It's not the universe which is making, let's say, a bog to appear as a creation in the soil. It all comes down from the first point, which is the soul. It's the soul which appears and then creates offsprings and creates more souls or new life or new beings. But it's not just the universe which sprouts it out. It is initiated from field strengths. It's when the field strengths come and is given the energy, you know, like you bring, as Ms. Keshe, if I can go back to the teaching from, let's say, a man and a woman, you get the sperm and the egg, they go and they are in a physical state, but they are combining their energies to go sufficient enough into that energy level where it is then ready to receive from the whole universe, meaning from each soul, from the totality of the creation, is given to create that new soul. So everything and everywhere, to use the human language, is giving to that point of that new creation of that soul, which then in its own path becomes part of the totality.
Okay, can I ask one question?
Yes.
In this, which is a beautiful question, I think. If I make a GANs of a CO2, for instance,
Yes.
and I wish something to be in that, to give me something, because I'm part of creation, I can ask creation to give me what I wish in that GANs. Is this not true?
You got to go, if you are a soul, yeah? You are part of the creation. You are creating fields, which then you direct to in what you want to create, because you are a creator yourself, because you already are that soul which is in the state of getting to know through the knowledge that you can create. So you create new creations through your existence.
Okay, yes, I agree with that. But anyway, I don't want to take up any more time. Just so much thank you. I love you all very much. So,
No, it's a good point, Brett. So, you know, I think it's worth pursuing. It's an interesting aspect.
See, the crazy thing is here is that the way I see things, and this might be crazy, is that creation is all around us, and seeing we're part of creation, we can create anything that we wish as we wish it. So all we have to do, if I wanted to create, you know, supposedly an elixir that healed me, all I have to do is create the environment and have the wish, and then I drink it and I'm healed. So this is the strange thing that to me is reality. To everybody else, it's like harebrained scheme scenario. But I know
Brett, The thing is, Brett, here in this charter for the Universal Council, it's to take that idea that you just said, to be a creator and create something, but it's for the purpose of serving the other souls of the universe, not especially for ourselves. That's the whole idea in this statement, that the Universal Council is here to serve every other soul in the universe rather than to serve ourselves. And that's the main ethos of the Keshe Foundation. We are here to serve, not to be served. We are not here to take advantage of things in the creation in a way. We are here to serve, but not the creation. We're here to serve other souls. But what you call the creation, as Caroline mentioned, could be called the soul, because inside all of those little ganses and inside of yourself and all the other beings and all the things, everything has a soul. And that soul is the same in everything if you choose to look at it on that level. And if you see all of the creation around you, essentially you're seeing the soul in everything, like all at once, basically. And that's you know, it's you could say that that's the creation doing it, or you could say it's the soul doing it. It's sort of the words get
the answer, Rick. The answer, Rick and Brad, is sitting in the second one. This charter for humanity is recognizing all collective commitments of all souls on planet Earth and in the universes, and for all to be as equal. So it is there, all collective commitments of all souls, doesn't matter where they are present. They are present in the stone, they're present in your trees, they're present in the animals, they're present in the universe, they're present in humans, they're present in the beings which are present among us, they are present in our planet, they are present in the moon, in the sun. And it mentions here, and in the universes, and for all to be equal, because this is what we are bringing among humanity, that teaching. Because Mr. Keshe always says, you cannot go and travel beyond this planet. If you're going to decide, and let's say you land on planet Moon, and there are beings there, and you come into interaction with them, and you decide to start eating their pet or their bird or their fish, or because you love it or you desire to gobble it up, which on planet Earth is still present. This is what we are trying to come to understand. Where does one of the first things which was brought to humanity was thou shalt not kill. That doesn't mean only another human being, but also all the life around you. And this was also coming through the teachings of Mr. Keshe. He says, when you chew a salad, your soul hears the crunching, you chewing that salad. So he's trying to come with the understanding why, but bringing the balance of the transition that we can step away. So he first has created in the matter state the ganses that can support humanity by balancing you with whatever you need, and then go a step higher in the soul teaching, which you can receive and give without even going through the matter state, but through the field strength. But he also said it is a transition process, and if you step away fully from even consuming water, you will lose your mouth and you will lose your intestines, because you don't acquire them any longer. So it's to come to the understanding in this growing process that we cannot go out from this planet and start consuming other beings, because in the universe, this does not exist. And that's why it says here, recognizing all collective commitments of all souls on planet Earth and in the universes to be equal. So it doesn't matter what is created, what is existing. It's the knowledge is bringing that understanding now to respect, and in respect of those and that. And this is a changing process. And we are going quite fast in it, in the understanding of it and the teachings. That's why we are stimulating people to pass on the information, because when you start realizing, Mr. Keshe keeps on saying, you are only responsible for what you do and how you are and what you say. And when you can come from that pivot point, then everything locks into one another, because the charters are there to find more information if you don't understand something or you're not sure about something. But the creation, in respect beyond this planet, Mr. Keshe has made it very clear, is functioning in a different way than we are functioning on this planet. He says, why destroy or consume? There is no need for it. Even transmitting the energy into the water and then you drink it, you are still consuming, while in fact you don't even need to go through those steps, because you can work through your field strength. Remember when we try to bring this back, we are all sitting wherever we are, even at this moment, when we went through the call of Paul in Togo, when he was calling for help and he was bringing this situation from Togo on the table, we all sent our field strength. Nobody sent anything to Paul. We didn't move physically towards Paul. We all did it from our energy field strength. So we learn to work through our soul by giving. So we don't need to use the physical part to move to do it. We did it from wherever we were in field strength. And this is something which comes now and then back on the table, where we can accept how beautiful you are as a being and what your capabilities are. And that's why it is also, as the Universal Council journeys along this path of service, the Council guides to elevate all souls for them to bring peace on this planet and in their process of travel and existence in the universe as a whole. So each step is linking into the other one. It is a journey and it's a path of service. What I just said before, the knowledge seekers are already in the path of service. The Universal Councils are in the path of service. The Earth Council is in the path of service. The core team is in the path of service. The Keshe family as a totality is in the path of service towards humanity. So nothing is being left behind or left out in this path of evolving and teaching and sharing and giving. So we're reaching that to the point that we will even step away from even crushing a little ant, because we know it is a life form and it's on its path and it's on its journey. But it is a journey which more and more souls will come into in connection, because as Mr. Keshe has emphasized on it, if that is the path that humanity wants to go, and this is the direction of world peace, it's already done. It's just a matter of the journey for it to go through that process, to be showing itself in a matter state. But the fields are already created by so many knowledge seekers, because even the councils are all part as a knowledge seeker. And Mr. Keshe always said, once you change the field strength, then the physicality changes automatically. Because we bring more and more balance through the field strength. But we are going to go much faster if we work on soul level and understanding on soul level than by applying the Gans waters. But we are still working everywhere with the two, because there are a lot of new souls coming in and a lot of new knowledge seekers coming in, and they have to go through that transition period, and we have to give them the time, and we're going to have to keep on doing it. We cannot catapult them straight away onto that level where you already are working on for 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years. We're going to have to be very patient, and we're going to have to be very kind with the souls which are coming in. It is not an easy path to learn so much and to understand so much so fast. And Mr. Keshe always says, be very kind. Because if you then jump, Rick, to the council is and will be true reflection of the whole of humanity on earth and in space, the council will not only exist with humans, we will have an interaction that if we travel into space and we are ready to go, that we will be guided but you have to give it some time. We are maturing in that direction. And then if you go straightway underneath, the expression of this existence is the unity of all beings in the path of serving all unconditionally. And I think that the Keshe family can have the honor because they are already serving humanity so beautiful. And then again, underneath, this charter provides a bridge amongst all men and all inhabitants of this planet and between humanity and the Universal Council. So we are creating the path of that bridge. If we say that amongst all man and all inhabitants of this planet, that means nothing is excluded. And this is humanity, which is on this planet, and everything which is beyond this planet. Because you're not going to be alone in this process. And when the time is mature and the time is right and the field strength is in position, the universal community will reveal itself and will start working to make those bridges stronger and stronger and stronger in their understanding. And then if we go to the next part, through the beauty of the soul, of diversity of the languages spoken on planet Earth, all souls are as equal and all are as creators as they are created in the image of the Creator. Because a lot of people are making the mistake that all souls are only including humanity. And this is incorrect. Every living entity has a soul. Remember the teaching of Mr. Keshe when he explains about, I prefer, in his explanation, I prefer to sacrifice one animal, let's say one cow, which I can share with, let's say, 100 people, which is one soul which is getting blessed to feed so many, than to have a bowl of rice with, let's say, 500 or 1,000 grains of rice in one plate in front of me, because each grain carries a soul. Because if I put that grain in the ground, it will set off new life, a new creating living being. So through the beauty of the soul of diversity of the languages spoken on planet Earth, that has to do with the humanity. And then all souls are as equal and are as creators as they are created in the image of the Creator. That also means that grain of rice is equal to you because it can create new life. It is a creator. So everything which is present in this, whatever we can see, feel, smell, is a creator. It carries a soul. So it is as equal as you and me. And the point of the beauty of the soul of diversity, if we refer to the languages, but that is the understanding that the diversity is the beauty, then you can imagine the diversity of nature and creation is also so extremely beautiful. So there is a lot more meaning in the sentences and in the words where they are positioned. It's not just reading a sentence, it's opening it up. And that's why I brought the charter on the table, because the charter had to be in place, as Mr. Keshe explained in his Thursday morning teachings, to go into the next stage of for humanity to receive more. I have left the charter to be quiet for a few weeks after it was presented, because I started working with you on the in private and on the public platform to explain, to learn to understand from the point of you as a person, you in your language, you in your country, and then how you can serve humanity and planet Earth. And then I brought the second point up. I said, how can you personally, in your beauty, serve humanity and planet Earth? And those steps had to go through to understand when I bring the charter on the table, it's not just a sentence. That's why I wanted Rick to go very slowly until, and thanks to Brad, he went back to the beginning, and I thank you for it. So now we can open and see where the debate of understanding can come on the table. And I always know, and Rick knows, and Flint knows, and Vince knows, that the first half an hour is like waking up time, warming up, until we can really start working, because then everybody starts taking part and they start communicating. So I invite you to come with your questions or your guidance to share more knowledge on this charter, please.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. And I'll remind the attendees in the Zoom chat that they can put their hand up and we can allow you to speak. I don't see a lot of hands waving in the air yet, Caroline. But we're
getting used to this, Rick. We have to warm them up.
That's predictable. That's right. That's why we need some good jokes and maybe some storytelling or something to get them engaged. But
it's a good hint. It's a good hint, Rick, to give to the new teachers to be very patient within the first 15 minutes or half an hour when the teaching starts. To be very patient, because people need to, it's like coming into a new house, sit down and have the coffee and breathe the air and sense the emotion. And if everything is comfortable, then they start yapping. We can't stop them, because then they don't want to stop anymore.
Yes, that's right. And we have to sort of open the space and so on. I thank Brett for it. Actually sort of jogged me trying to get my head around what is it about this statement and so on. And it helped to sort of get the ball rolling really, really quickly. And, we need a little bit of friction, a little bit of something to work with to get the juices going, you might say. I think that worked really well. I thank you for that. And, there's an understanding there that was important, and it still needs to be brought out a lot more, that whole aspect, of course. We do have something from Dean here that he wished for, and maybe we can, maybe I can just read it and we can deal with it in one way or another. And just to acknowledge it, let's say to start with.
Yep.
Dean says, can we go over the wish that I shared at the end of the last Tuesday meeting? He says, I, Dean Michael Hansen, am present. I was born in the promise of the Republic of the United States of America. My desire is the technology that brings water in its free, brings water in its energy. I think it means brings water and its energy free out of the plasma field, is released, manifest now in the rollout of the new technologies, energies. I wish that there is an easy transition for all, that the transition onto the road of peace. I wish that the aerobic digester biomass processor is manifest for the production of new building materials, food, bioremediation, and new materials for clothing. My desire is that the existing technologies are released for the care of mankind and bringing balance and restoration of mankind with the nature and the cosmos. I create a wish for balance and peace. Okay, that's from Dean.
Yes, if nobody has any more questions on the charter, I think we should put it at a rest, because it's a lot of things that needs to be opened up, and maybe later on in the platform we can come back to it if people have any questions. Or
there is something that's a question in all that was said that maybe we should address, and it is emphasized from a question from John Mighty, all one word, John Mighty, from YouTube, who says, and why do animals eat animals, the tiger and the wolf, etc.? And this is part of life on Earth. We observe in nature that animals eat other animals, or they eat plants, of course, as well. But that animals,
because Mr. Keshe, if you remember, Rick, Mr. Keshe has brought this in the teaching that planet Earth has a shortage of balance, and what we are creating with our field strength, but going through the Gans waters mainly, firstly, what is always attached to the Gans waters? What are they achieving? They are creating balance. They are giving to nature, to animals, to humans, to the environment, a balanced field strength, which means planet Earth, there is a lack of energy, which gives that kind of always searching to balance. So why do we eat? Why do we have this kind of behavior? Because if you are fully balanced, why would you eat? If you have that feeling of being full and you have everything, you will not go out to take that extra energy. So this is in the teachings embedded very well by Mr. Keshe, that we are balancing the fields so that can be dealt with. And he always said, when you balance your fields, your physicality changes. He always said that when humanity balances itself and knows how to work with their fields, you will change your whole environment. So the animals will follow the procedure. As you change, they will change. The whole nature, the whole environment, the whole weather condition, everything will change. Because you create sufficient enough balanced field strength. We are, and in all the teachings is explained, you always give to the lower field strength. Why is the question not there? Why is there a lower field strength? Because that should answer the question. Why is there a need of giving? Because we are evolving. So as humanity is evolving through this process, then your whole environment is also evolving. He tried to show this by the wish of the girl that she wanted to play harp. As a little girl, she was not, her arms were not long enough to reach the harp. Her fingers were too short to reach the harp. And she did that physical transformation to be able to play the harp. So the physicality can be adjusted to the desire of what you wish. Is that sufficient enough explained, or do you want more explanation? You are the creator. If we are killing and we are consuming and we are misbehaving, then the environment around you has that same field strength. That's why it is so beautiful to show in so many presentations where we are capable of completely changing the whole environment. But where does that change start? When you start working as a creator, understanding your field strength and understanding your wish, the confirmation I am. And every single knowledge seeker which has been working through the field strength, they see the changes not only in their close environment, but they see the reflection when they work towards the animals, when they work towards, they give the feedback, it works. So when we stop killing and eating, what would withhold you from giving that bird through your intent and your wish that it doesn't need to go and kill and eat the worm? Because you can balance the fields wherever you decide to do. It's not because they're animals that they are not short of the same process as we are. But we are capable of balancing all those field strengths. We can become one in complete balance. But that also includes everything and anything which is around you and even Mother Earth. It's the separation and the lack of sufficient balanced energy. And when I did the call to release the waters of the Ganges in the streams and the fountains and in your gardens, you should have understood that with Tom Salas, you got it there in black and white. That is a balanced field strength. That's an oasis system created through the Ganges waters and through the intent of Tom and his mom. Now, if Tom would go back and be present there and start working with his environment, with the intent as the soul, as a creator, then he won't even see animals eating other animals. And each one of you can start applying this knowledge. Because you have it, if you're a knowledge seeker, you have the Ganges waters. You have the knowledge how to work through your soul and how to apply your intent. So what would withhold you from changing your whole environment? That you can even bring the animals to peace. You are the creator. But we have to work in the understanding for the totality. Remember when I brought the topic forward, when I said to Mr. Keshe, but we hear so many souls crying. We hear over so many years and centuries the crying of so much souls in pain and suffering. I said, and why is it not changing, Mr. Keshe? And he turned around and he said, very simple, of course not. And I said, beg your pardon? He said, yes, because it was never done to unite. It was never brought to unify, that everyone can be equal. And this is the change which this knowledge is bringing, that we start understanding. The faster we can bring anything up to our level through giving, we bring peace. We come to understand faster and faster the acknowledgement that everyone has the right to be peaceful. And we have all the tools to create it through giving, through our intent, through our teaching, through our sharing. We are, all of you knowledge seekers are the first messengers. Any other questions popping up, Rick? Or sharing?
There was one other thing we should address here, at least, from Jackie, and it goes back into the first believe the very first sentence in our Universal Council Charter, and he says perhaps the phrase in the universe is too specific. The Universal Council is serving any soul from anywhere, perhaps another universe. If that phrase was taken out, then all that is and will be is included. So again, that might be something to...
I don't get it. I don't get it, Rick, because if you read the Universal Council is here to serve each and every soul in the universe.
He's saying that, what about souls from another universe?
So it should have been the soul in the universes.
Getting an echo there. Maybe it's through my system. I'll mute.
I said creation. So if we put the word creation into the end of it instead of universe, then there would be no equality. Equality comes from understanding creation.
So, but. I am sorry, but read the second line. The first answer or your answer sits within the first few words. This is a charter for humanity.
Got it.
It's humanity which is going through this process of learning to serve each and every soul. And maybe you're right, that last word can maybe be expanded to and can be debated about, but this is a charter for humanity. Universal Council is bringing this forward for humanity to go through this process of understanding. The Constitution is also for humanity on planet Earth, because the universal community, they are already applying this. Mr. Keshe always says the behavior of what is on planet Earth is not acceptable and is not existing in the universe. It's humanity which is going to go through this process. And this is, as the Universal Council journeys along this path of service, the Council guides to elevate all souls for them to bring peace on this planet, and in their process of travel and existence, in the universe as a whole. So it is to guide and elevate all souls for them to bring peace on this planet. Because when you start traveling, we are in the process of learning to go travel beyond the planet and to start existing elsewhere in the universe. It's also confirmed as a whole. There will be a lot of things which will be very good to mark down of the people which come and help us open it up. As we are all maturing, we will see where the adjustments can and the expansion can come on the charter. And this is why I brought it on the table, because when we start, the sooner we start working with it, the sooner we will evolve and open more and more up, and people will come with more advice and guidance, which is beautiful. So the first title can be expanded to more or bigger or more complete or more totality.
Perhaps we can let Jackie speak, who was the one who originated
Yes, please.
the comment.
Thank you, Rick. My thought is that if you put a period after the word soul, it includes all souls everywhere in every universe. In the Unicos, it does not remain so inclusive as to just this universe, which I think is what is meant by the universe. Because this is not the universe, it is one of many universes. I remember Mr. Keshe teaching us that the concern of the group which he comes from was not that the earth would one day be absorbed by the sun, but that our universe is headed for a collision with another universe. The souls in that universe would be served by the universal community as well as the souls in this universe. It just seems too inclusive, too specific, and our service will be to all souls everywhere at any time. And that's all that I meant by that, because it's not beyond my imagination to believe that there's someone like Mr. Keshe in the universe that we are tracking toward in a collision. There's one like him there also teaching them about their soul and about what is coming and preparing them as well. Thank you.
You are correct. But this is the starter point of Charter for Humanity. If we can already get on the understanding and the application of this, it will be already a beautiful job. But please take your notes, because we will start collecting them. You can send them to the email, and Rick or Flint can then give the email into public, where you can send whatever you notice, whatever you can, and bring as an input that it can be brought to the Universal Council and the Earth Council and the core team, so that they are ready, that it can be adjusted And this is the reason why we opened the charter. Because I'm going to keep on bombarding and keep on defending something for you to say, yeah, but I have a different mind and this maybe should be there and you are correct. And this is how we usually have to go in this debates, small debates, because we want you to share. Because it says so beautiful. I think it is further down. If you can go down, Rick, a little bit. I have to find it. Somewhere it says, I think it's more down. No, go back up. Very slowly, very slowly. I'm trying to go through it to see. There is something here in the charter which reveals this. Commitments. Somewhere commitments is written in this top few, but I can't find it. Yeah, there it is. All collective commitments. It means each one of you can bring its own and add to, because we are working as a collective. Because we are all trying to work in the uniting and understanding. So it's not a few which are collective in this commitment. Each knowledge seeker has the same level. You want to carry on opening it up more? So please do write what you noticed today and let us know through email. Because they're definitely going to be considered in the meeting.
There's one other question from Fernando, maybe we can address. It says, when will this letter be available for the official Spanish language? And that could be true of other languages of the world too. I believe they're
working on it. It's a long charter, Rick.
Mm-hmm. And they'll eventually be published on the website, similar to the Earth Council charters, I believe.
Yeah, right? we have the Universal Council link on our website, and every information will come under the Universal Council. So people are working hard in the background. Please don't forget, they're trying to translate as fast as possible the teachings of Mr. Keshe. So when there are charters coming up like this or other important things that they want it out in their language, it takes time. Unless there are more volunteers coming on board to do translations, please. You're more than welcome. I know two languages will appear very soon. because I've seen them finished, is the French and the Italian. Shall we open up further the charter, or does anyone wants to go back to the first topics?
Well, there's just a bit of a remainder question regarding this idea of animals eating animals and so on. And for example, Peggy says here, she can't talk today, but she says in the chat, I would say friends don't eat friends, regarding eating animals and perhaps even vegetables as far as that goes. And then John Mighty says in the YouTube chat, according to what Flint tells me here, he asked the question before, why do the animals eat animals, the tiger and wolf and so on? And you address that. And then he says, well, what is it when an animal dies in the woods and the ants eat it? So what would the response be as far as that goes, in terms of like how do we look at that situation? You mentioned the thing that about eating an animal, because then you're eating one being compared to thousands of beings of the rice grain, for example. But on the other hand, the animal that you're eating probably ate billions of rice grains or some kind of grain. It killed all those grains in order to become itself, its large body. It takes a lot of water and grain in order to make an animal large, let's say. So how do we look at that? How do we judge that, or not judge it exactly?
There is.
How do we evaluate?
Yeah, exactly. There is no judgment, because the whole process of the teaching of Mr. Keshe is to learn to work with the field strength which is present. There is sufficient enough field strength which is all around us, but it's the attachment to the physicality which makes it difficult. We are habitual in our physicality, and we are in that transition process of understanding how we can change this. And it's a slow process of understanding, and it is in so many teachings, in small parts. It pops up here and there. I do advise people, when you have time, to go back to the first teachings of Mr. Keshe. The translators have a wonderful journey, because with translating the teachings, they go back through the whole process of what Mr. Keshe has been teaching. And it reopens a lot of doors which were skipped or not understood, and then they become in the understanding. For me to go back through all the teachings where there are all these parts of explanation was, there was one which was helping to support the understanding, is when you put CO2 gas water and zinc water and some CH3 water in the palm of your hand, and you close your hand, not much, just a little bit, and you let through the warmth of your body the water of the gas to vapor, that your hand is more or less nearly dry, and you go outside and stand and open your hand, and you wish to receive all the fields to balance, you will receive, because it is present. We just have not been taught or forgotten, or whatever name you want to. Nobody has taught or passed it on, or it's been diverted. But the knowledge now is here today, present, to learn, to go through the process, how it can be done. If you can stand outside with your hands open and just wish to receive, you have the whole existence that will give to you. But how many knowledge seekers are going outside?
Well, we have two knowledge seekers with two hands that are up here, as it turns out. And they both have D as their first letters. Dean and Doug, both four-letter words. Wow, what a coincidence. So it must be like one being with two hands clapping here that we can hear from. So I guess we can have a race. Whoever opens their microphone first between Dean and Doug can get to speak here. Oh, I think Doug won. Go ahead, Doug.
Sorry, Dean. I wanted to say, if I may, that there is a culture in the human society on this planet, in a land we call India, and they have this concept of devotional service, and they also have an understanding that if you are in physicality, it's unavoidable to kill as you walk and talk and go about your business. As long as you've got a physical body, it's inevitable that you are going to, by interacting with the matter state, you're going to kill inadvertently. So they have a process, even in their eating, that they very carefully gather their thoughts and they offer their foodstuffs to the Creator before they engage in consuming. And they do that with all the love that they can. They have ceremonies around this. And that matter state, food, changes in their understanding into what's called prasadam. And prasadam is a word that means mercy of the Creator. So they convert with their consciousness the matter and the bodies of living entities into an offering to the Creator first, and through the energy of the Creator, all of the little souls that have been, if you want to say, destroyed, are uplifted and benefit from the process of the eating of this prasadam. And it's shared on that basis to as many people as possible through their social structures. And I don't want to use the word, but the temples and so on, with that, if that consciousness is there, that's the reason that they exist, so that they can produce prasadam to feed freely any living entities that wish to participate in that process. And so, I think that's a beautiful concept and a very high level of civilization as far as this planet goes. And I don't know if that sort of process is all over the earth, but it's certainly been in the culture of India for thousands, and if not millions of years. However, it may have been degraded now into money-making business of selling this prasadam, which then it's really not prasadam, it's something else. But initially, that was the whole idea. And I thought I'd bring that up.
Thank you, Doug.
Not only India, the Indians work through the same understanding. Mr. Keshe explained that because of them being deprived from like the way we live in Europe, to give you just an example, they have had time to be so close to their whole environment. They had more time to be learning, to observe, and they have passed this information and knowledge through generations. And the few which are still standing out with that knowledge are shamans. And it is amazing how they respect their whole environment and the nature and the animals and the why and the how. And this knowledge has not even been written down, but has been taught through generations by stories. So yes, you're correct. But there are many tribes which still carry this knowledge. Not only Indians, or in India, there are a lot of societies which are carrying this knowledge. Are we gonna go to the second hand?
I think that might be appropriate. Dean, do you want to go ahead?
Hello there, grace, peace, love, thanks. Could I have permission to share my screen for a second and show you what happened from the last time when I showed you the little piece of work that I had done? I want to show you the edits. I think they're appropriate and a gift. And then I'd like to get into the words and the wish and the creation.
I think that would sound good.
I can hear you.
Does that sound okay, Caroline? I think we can do that.
I got the feedback from you.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo as well. Maybe it's through Dean's system. He's muted now. Dean wanted to share his creations that are changed from last time. So I think that would be okay.
Yes.
We'll see where that goes. Go ahead, Dean.
I think I have to be promoted to panelist so that I can hit my share screen.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, we see your screen there. And I see some familiar shapes here. These are from last time, right? We're not hearing your voice now, Dean. I think your microphone is muted. Here, I'll unmute you. Maybe that'll work. I can't.
Am I on now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, these just, you know, to me, it's just beauty, you know, and it's like what I see, you know, the stars and everything. And each one of these, they have resonance, right? And then here's another one. It's just like the prayers and manifestation coming out of the hands of man. Look at that. Look at this one. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that heart. This gave me ideas. And then I'm going to, let me see right here. I'm going to go here and I just want you to, okay. That's all I wanted to share, unless that I could just let you see my face and let you see my surroundings. And then I'd like to get into the words and the creation and the 14 days of manifestation. So can I stop sharing screen? I will do that. There we go. Can I share a video? There we go. Okay, wonderful. Hi, I wanted you to see my face. So anybody who has a computer, so if you meet me on the street, you know, you don't say, heard the voice, but never met the face. Well, here's the face behind the, okay, cannot start your video because, okay.
No, your video's already started. We see you there.
Okay, well, great. And then I just want you to see out my window because to me, look at this. And on top of this building where I'm standing right now, after this is over, I'm going to take and I'm going to walk on top. It's 38 floors up and it's an open balcony. And I'm going to open my hands and I'm going to do what I was instructed to do. And I am going to receive all of the force of nature brought into manifestation of our desires. So now if you would take my video off, I am going to sit down. We're going to go through some words and we're going to create something. Can we do that? Thank you.
I think that would be okay. It's a little bit off schedule, but I think.
Oh well, no. If it's not,
it should be fine. I think it'll be fine.
Okay, that's good because I know I've been working on this process for such a long time, and with funding and everything, and we're so close. I'm talking about the capital equipment of a biological digester of biomass, bio-waste. And that's in the statements. And I know that we have a group of people who have come together and we've been working together 3 years, just like I've been following Mr. Keshe. And anyway, there are things that we have an ability to manifest, just like the MAGRAV units that will heal the land and feed the people. And I've been working and as you have for a long time and found a way that through giving that all of my needs are met, but at the same time we get to reach out into humanity and nature and make a huge impact. And then I know that your group and my group is Global Mission of Peace. And by bringing these two visions together and the different technologies that we have at this time, that we get to heal the land and we get to enter into a transition time. Because we're in a transition time and I don't understand you know, how it all goes from physicality into a raw form of creation. But I know that we're at that point where we get to be part of that. And I am one of those who has been called forth by you to help in this process as we have called forth. Anyway, the words are what is important, because it's in the agreement that we get to see manifestation. And we had worked on the thing from America as far as bringing the people home, and then we worked on the visions of the other nations. And this is part of what the spirit that I was born upon this continent is being brought forth, which is a healing of the land and a, you know, what do you call it? A bringing forth of mechanical technologies using biological means in order to create balance. So probably the thing to do is go look at the words so we can agree on words, because once we agree on words, then at least we've created the wish and the manifestation. So I'm turning it back to you. I've mumbled long enough.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Is there any further comments or questions, or shall we proceed? Okay. Caroline, do you want to go on to the next part of this session?
Where do you want to sail to, Rick?
Well, probably somewhere off the planet would be better than somewhere on the planet. Under circumstances. That's where this.
Where would you like to take your journey off the planet?
Well, maybe we could go back to the planet of the public wishes, and we could look at that, I suppose, as a direction to go under and continue with that. Okay, I'll bring up that document and we can see where we were with it. Just getting things lined up here. Okay, that's how we generally start with that document. And then let's see where we ended up. We ended up with Dean's desire last time. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback through your microphone there, Dean. I think I have to mute you. Unless when you want to speak, just unmute yourself there. That's better. Or if you turn down your speakers, then you won't get the feedback. Or if you wear a headphone.
It's easiest if I just mute and unmute myself. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And let me see what we have just before that. about fracking and drilling and the machines of war, closing the manufacturers of machines of war. And I think I mentioned last time that we had evidence of that with the Remington Company in the United States declaring bankruptcy last week. And they're the manufacturers of the famous AR-15 rifle that's used in most of the mass killings in the United States and other places. So it's interesting how things go. And they blame strangely enough, they blame their bankruptcy. They don't blame it exactly, but the article mentions that the bankruptcy was partially caused by Donald Trump, the president of the United States, who's a big advocate of guns. And when he became president, strangely enough, it created a reverse psychology where people felt at ease, no longer had a fear of losing their guns, which they had under Obama. And because they didn't fear losing their guns, they didn't bother buying more guns. So the gun manufacturers went out of business, thanks to Donald Trump, in a way. So it's strange the way the universe works. And I think that's a great example of you can't beat the soul. And what peace is the game. It's inevitably everything comes around to that.
Rick, did you see on Facebook where I shared a whole pile of fracking stuff that's going on in TNT? So there's a real big push from the federal government to try to frack the NT, but nearly every person in the NT says, no way, you know, like we have the most pristine environment virtually on the planet. So if we allow them to come in and frack, you know, everything's going to be ruined. So this wish from Violet is coming true. I stand behind it. I am present, and so is the majority of the people within this state. We don't want it to happen, but what's going on is this. It's really difficult to explain. What's happening is you've got these federal politicians that are putting a lot of pressure on these local politicians to allow the territory to be fracked. But none of the people want it. And I stand before you all now and say, absolutely no way. And I put a message on one of the fracking websites and I got 6 likes in about 10 minutes. And that was that so there's actually a fracking ban here. So if they overturn the fracking ban, I promised that I would door knock every single person in Darwin so that we could either form a new party or ensure that whatever they decide that they're going to do, which is federally imposed upon the territory, that I would get them voted out. And I would do that without a second thought. If I had to stop class and go and door knock every single person to get them all in one place. And what the really strange thing is that the last Labor leader, I've been out to her as my job as a driver, been out and rescued her from a couple of problems that she had. And I said to her the other day on I think the second time that I'd been out to with her in 3 months, she had all these anti-fracking things in the back of her car. And she was in 2012, she was the head of this state. And I said to her, I can see the anti-fracking things in the back of your car. You know, like, I was going to ask you, you know, what you think about fracking. And she said, well, actually, it probably cost me my job because I stood against it, and all of these people came in against me from the federal government. And essentially, that's what cost me my job, is my stance against fracking. And I was really interested in this. So I asked her a couple of questions, and her name is Delia Laurie. And just her demeanor wasn't what I expected of a person that had been the state premier, or whatever, whichever way you want to put it. She said that under no circumstances would she ever allow them to pull in these fracking companies and allow them to put the profits of this into the back pocket of the politicians so that they could get re-elected. Isn't it strange how a person that stood for the right thing and stood for what she believed in got ousted really quite quickly? So I guess what I'm saying is that good people and people that try to bring themselves forward in Violet's wish, they're there, and they will almost do anything to bring Violet's wish forward, because it's, how can I manifest this? No matter what it takes, no matter what we have to do, it will be a hard road, but we will prevail in the end. Even she said to me, I don't care. I've been ousted out of my job. I'm more active now than I was before. So you can see the road. The road is that even the people that stood in the government that said, no, this is the wrong thing to do, and then they got ousted, they turn into the advocates that help the other people to oppose the current government and say, hey, we're not going to take it. We're not going to allow you to do it. And the decision is imminent in the next couple of days. I'll let everybody know. But if they do allow it, I promise you, I have to leave class for a while because I'm going to door knock every single person that's in Darwin. And I promise you, I'll bring them all together so that any person that opposes it is our candidate. So it's really, really strange how Violet's wish, even in my own area, is really, really huge. And every time I think about it, every time I do something, I think about this wish. And I thank Violet for that because she gives me strength every time I go back to this wish. I go, bang, I can give, I can give, I can give. So thank you, Violet. You give me strength in your wish, which is also my wish. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. I'd like to add another perspective on this issue as well that's kind of interesting. Like I agree with Brett and Violet and so on about the fracking. It's obvious it's a kind of a crazy activity, will ruin the water supply and so on. They're going at it very heavily in the United States in particular right now, and that's changed the United States and their stance with oil. It's made the United States for the first time a net exporter of oil rather than a net importer of oil. So in a way, it's made the United States much more secure in their energy supply. They no longer have to worry about invading other countries for their oil because they have plenty of oil. In fact, that's now the problem. There's so much oil that the price of oil has dropped to approximately $60 a barrel or 50 or something in that range. And unfortunately, that's not even to the break-even point for the manufacturers and organizations and corporations in Canada in the tar sands or oil sands, as they're called, to be productive and to make money. They can't make money at that price. So what has happened is it's basically shutting down the oil industry in Canada in a way. The price of oil dropping because of the US fracking is causing one of the largest sources of oil in the world, the tar sands in Canada, to be considering shutting down. And this is very bizarre, but there's a certain beauty in this fracking in a way, because it is creating the environment now that is like the nail in the coffin for oil. It's the end of oil because they've made it so cheap in a way that it's no longer worthwhile to develop it. And since the alternate energy sources, the renewable energy sources, are now equal and better to that oil in terms of being economical, the oil is now looked at as getting kind of foolish to work with it, even though we still use so much of it. So it's very interesting time that we live in right now, with this whole oil and fracking and everything else that's going on. But there is a certain beauty in it, in terms of, I'm happy that the oil sands are getting pressurized from this. And if the price of oil was high, like it was before the US started fracking, then they would definitely be continuing to rip up most of the central part of Canada, or the western part of Canada, with this oil sands thing. But maybe it's time to, for the purposes of our situation here, I don't know if we need to get into all the details of the fracking and different aspects of it. Suffice to say that we give from our souls to help heal whatever situations that are occurring that are machines of war. As mentioned here, the machines of war to the environment, in this case, which is essentially back to us as well. So now that we have new technologies that are able to create the energy and create new materials, we no longer have the need for drilling for oil, or fracking for oil, or mining for gold, or mining for copper, or mining for any metals. This is the promise and the reality of the new technology. And you combine that with the space technology, and all of this drilling and fracking will look like total foolish folly of mankind, and the investors will start looking at it that way as well, which they're currently doing. They're dropping the investments in the oil industry very rapidly right now, such as New York City, which is divested of all their oil investments in their pension funds and so on. Billions of dollars they've divested over the next 5 years, and they're also suing all the oil companies as well. Anyway, maybe that's enough about oil. We have something brighter and sunnier and less black to talk about. Are you still there, Caroline? Can you let some light to our conversation?
Yes, my darling. I am still here. I'm present. I have done, and I wanted to bring it on this platform, I've been calling up on teachers, but women also. I tried to explain it on Monday morning. It is nice to repeat it here too, because we want to know how we can encourage people to find relief in different ways. And the male is more present because they have been drawn and been attracted more to through the other aspects of the knowledge. But now it is coming more and more apparent that there are so many women which are using the knowledge and are making it. And they're staying quite shy in the background. So don't hesitate. Let us know if you're ready to teach or to share what you have found out, what you can achieve, where you have brought betterment in your environment, with your friends, with children. Little tricks, as women usually try to apply them to see if it will work and how it works. We would like to have your way of teaching to combine with all our other teachers. You're more than welcome to share your knowledge. And as it is a wish of the foundation, most probably it will kick into work. The thing is with the wishes, are there any other people which would love to bring the beauty of their country into vision? I know we're spending a lot of time on the United States, but there are so many countries that we can let shine like a bright light and a real beauty. Are there any more people that would love to bring their country into full view of knowledge? Because we are learning a lot in this process. Anybody? It's very quiet today, quieter than normal.
We have Barbara with her hand up. Allow you to talk, Barbara, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, hello, all together. Caroline, I would like to have a look with you all to the Republic of Yemen, which was for many times or still is in war. But I'm actually not really informed enough how the actual situation is so that I can formulate a wish right now. Why I choose Yemen is because I was living there for 6 years, but in the 80s. And I found it a very nice, old-fashioned, but very nice country and very nice people, very nice, very, how do you say it? They are very warm people, also very, with a lot, very much hospitality. No, how do you say? Hospitality? No, not hospital.
Hospitable, I think you're the word you want. Hospitable.
Yeah. Yes. And I liked it very much to stay there. And it's a very beautiful, or it was a very beautiful country. It still is a beautiful country, but very lot destroyed through the wars all the time since I think maybe more than 10 years now. There's war over there. Last time when I've been there, it was 2003. I guess it was 2003 or 4. And that time it was still quite nice. And this country, it was divided also in 2 parts before. The south part was formerly, let's say, ruled by the American, and the north was independent. And in the 1990, I think they united. So.
Okay, well, interestingly, I just looked up Yemen as I do with when these things come up. And before I even got to the Wikipedia, there's a major news item that came up that actually ties in, strangely enough, oil that we've been talking about and Yemen. And what's happened is in the last hour, there's an oil tanker that's been bombed in the Red Sea. And there's chaos happening because the Yemen rebels have attacked a Saudi warship. And this is what, according to what this headline says, it's a little bit, the Houthi rebels say they targeted a warship in the Red Sea, but other sources say that it's an oil tanker that was hit. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but they're at least blaming the Yemen rebels. The Saudis are blaming the Yemen rebels for a terrorist attack on one of their oil tankers, I believe is what's happening. And this is enough to basically start a war in the Middle East is what they're concerned about with this news item. So interesting that just came up.
They started only in the time I was there. I was living there in the 80s, in the beginning of the 80s or end of 70s to look for oil. And then the problem started, of course. Yeah. It's a big desert part and the oil they find in the desert area.
So what would be the beauty of the country of Yemen? What can they offer to the world? What can they teach that's their specialty that they're really good at? You mentioned they're warm and hospitable, for example, which has also been mentioned with some other cultures of the Middle East and that area.
But I was living there as a single woman, and I was very often astonished how much they are tolerate to accept me how I am as foreigner. And then the second part of the sentence, yes, it could be because you're a foreigner. So but anyhow, at least they accepted the difference in belief and whatever, no? As me as a German and so on. And this I was really surprised about. So I could live very easy there, alone in a house or so, like a single woman. So I think this is yeah. I cannot formulate it. I don't know. They have a very nice possibility or I lost the words in English, to build houses, but they do it only in mud, but 5-6 stories high, only mud, only what do you call it? Yeah, mud or
mud. Yes, you're saying yes. Stone.
No, even not stone. Mud.
Mud. Okay.
Lehm. Doesn't come to my mind now the word. Sorry. Yeah.
You know, mud.
Yes, mud. Which you found in the ground.
It's a mixture with soil.
It's only soil. Lehm. Mud houses.
Yeah, lehm. I know, but I don't know the word in English.
I have to look in the dictionary. And then they're from normally if you use that stuff, it's have not a nice color, but then they make nice embroidery, or no, not embroidery, a decoration with just with the kalk, the white kalk, or no?
Stucco, you mean? Like a stucco cover?
Ganz easy. Man, I'm sorry, I have a black
The
look.
mud houses are called adobe.
Yeah, adobe, but it's in Spanish.
Yeah, well, I think it's adobe in English also.
Yep. Adobe. That's correct. Yep.
Adobe in English.
Thank you, John. That's right.
Oh, loamy soil. Loam, L-O-R.
Loam in the soil. Yeah, that would be used as part of the.
Oh, mud wall. Mud is also right. Yeah. And,
you also call it a ram wall, where they ram the mud into between two planks.
Oh no, they do it without planks, just like this.
No, but in Australia, I think they do it by ramming the mud in.
Yes. So this is why it's very impressive. And if you look at the capital, the old city of Sanaa, it's really astonishing. So such high houses, and they have a very nice sewage system inside the house. So you have the bathroom. They have no bathroom. Yeah, they have bathroom, but there's only a hole or two holes in the ground, and you separate while you are doing it. So the hard stuff will go down in a separate room, and then will fall down completely down to earth level, and then they collect it and burn it in the mosque to heat the mosque, or to heat the bath. Not to heat the mosque, no, to heat the bath, the public bath, where they go for steam bath or something, for cleaning the bodies. Yeah. So there's a lot of nice technique alive from former times, which is still very useful. It becomes more useful as I think it would be really good to use it like this more than in this time now than all the other modern stuff we have.
Barbara?
Yes.
Paraguay was the first country in America to have the iron smoldering factory. That's why they had the three-party war against Paraguay so they would destroy this steel factory.
Yeah, but I was talking about Yemen.
You're talking about Yemen. I thought you were talking about Paraguay. Sorry.
No, we're talking about Yemen, John. Yep.
I wanted to find a wish for Yemen, because they are very much in need. They have so much sufferings over there through the actual war, and the war is already since very long time alive.
Barbara, can I ask, did you have any experience? I believe I saw that in Yemen they have amazing water management skills with very little water. They have amazing irrigation systems that come from the high mountains, and they run tiny channels of water down and
Yes.
utilize what little water they have. They use every single drop and share in a system they have, so that everybody gets an allocation of water. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, but not very much, because didn't have the chance too much to see this special thing about the water. At the moment, I don't remember exactly where I saw one of this water systems, but I know they have a very nice bridge in the mountains, not but very high in the mountains, a bridge only for footpaths, but it's incredible what they did. It's not new, it's all old, but it's very functioning.
The picture up now is a good example of the tall buildings you were talking about. These are made all just with straw and mud.
Yes, and this is in South Yemen, I guess, the former South Yemen. It's not in the capital of Sana'a.
They call them skyscrapers, actually. Skyscrapers of the desert.
Yes. And there is really, if you go out from the cities, there are still a lot of tribes living like tribes, and it's still functioning. But of course, it's still disturbed. It's already also disturbed through all this influence. But it's because they only opened, I think, about this in the 60s. They opened more to the public or to other countries. Before they were more close, especially in North Yemen, the northern part. Yeah, it's really amazing. And I wish that they come along through this, that they stop this. This nonsenseless killing and fighting. So
it's actually the greatest source of killing and fighting happening in the world right now in Yemen.
Because before there was oil, starting the digging for oil or looking for oil, there was also problems between one tribe and another, maybe also, but no war like now. And so much of weapons and killing. It looks to me, it feels like it's all organized. The whole war stuff there, that's all organized from outside, using the people from inside, of course.
Right. So part of the theme, live stream. Part of the theme that we're working with in this class or in this avenue is trying to incorporate what is the beauty of the nations that we're trying to bring forward. And previously, we have addressed the various issues through Earth Council and other means of, giving from our soul to help and elevate those that are in those situations and that kind of thing. But part of what we're trying to focus on now is to look at the beauty that's brought forward by different nations. And now that beauty can shine through perhaps under the stress of war and how the population adapts and how they can, perhaps still keep their dignity and their, keep their essence and their wits about them in the middle of this chaos. And sometimes in those war situations, it's actually a greater opportunity for that essence to come through and shine under those circumstances. So perhaps there's something about the Yemenis that they do better than anyone else in the world, and maybe that comes through lately. And somehow I don't have a specific example that comes to mind. Although I do know that in the history of Yemeni people, they are very, they have these very strong spiritual connections in some of their groups and some of the tribes and so on. And it's very much connected to this idea of soul and essence that we talk about. So maybe that's somehow connected. Sorry, what were you going to say there?
The point that they only opened up their country in the 60s, at the beginning of 60s, I think it was, means that they're really strong country. I mean, that they, by themselves, they are really, must be really strong to keep them away from all this somehow negative influence.
It does mention in the Wikipedia how difficult it's been to try to rule Yemen, because the people are, like you say, so tough in a way, or so independent. It sort of goes with the terrain, which is quite rugged. And, if you only have mud and straw to work with, then you build your skyscrapers out of mud and straw.
Yeah.
And that's maybe part of the spirit of the Yemeni people, as that they're very tolerant and welcoming, like you mentioned. They're warm and hospitable because of their location is sort of a crossroads of all these cultures that are passing through. But at the same time, they've had to remain strong over many, many generations in order to maintain their integrity in that situation and not be overruled and torn apart and so on. So what is it that they're able to do that's kept them from being exploited up until the 60s and so on, and kept them independent so seems fiercely independent?
Yeah, and they're difficult to rule. It's a good sign. It's not a bad thing. It's a good sign,
right,
to me. Yeah?
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's that independence, that fierce sort of.
They have self-confidence, and they have.
Right. Okay. So there you go. I think it's getting a little closer now. That self-confidence that must come by definition from the soul. So they've, in spite of being, literally bombed and
I think they're more aware that they are human beings than being persons to be ruled or something like that.
Yes, right. I think that probably nails it. And that might be their example for the rest of humanity.
Even though they had since a long time, they had universities. I don't know, more than 100 years, I think. In the south and the area of the Red Sea and the coastal area. It's a bit hard for me to put it in sentence and in English. But I think their strength and For example, very easy example. It sounds sometimes somehow crazy to us, but if you look behind it, I think it's great. If it's rainy weather and the streets, which are not asphalted, are very dirty and sometimes you cannot pass even. So just they stay home to care about the house, and so that rain doesn't happen anything, or just to take care about the family, and don't go to work that time if it's, which sometimes you can find it in Paraguay too. But there it was in the 80s. It was to me very. It was very strange, and I think, are they crazy? But then I thought, no, it's right. The family first. Yeah, family first. Maybe I find something, I will think about it more and look in old pictures or something like that to find some more ideas.
Fine.
That would be very nice, because then we can build up your wish. And I think it will inspire a lot of more people to start paying attention towards Yemen, because there are more things happening and there are strange reports in the news. And if you have family or relatives or friends which are still in Yemen, it would be nice to have an accurate view on what is going on, but from the Yemen people themselves, so that we can create a perfect wish.
It's very difficult. The people I knew there, which I was visiting also later, they left the country because they couldn't stay anymore there. So actual, I have no connection, no physical connection. Yes, unfortunately.
We will find our way.
Yes.
Because as it is our wish to work and create a path for Yemen and so many others to change the whole field strength, it will start. We will start noticing the differences. Although the wish is not formed yet or not even printed, but it is the wish in our heart for those people not to suffer. So the motion is already starting.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I thank you for bringing Yemen forward, because it passed me quite a few times in the last few weeks. But I thought, we'll give it time, it will come on the table. And I'm glad that you did today.
Mm-hmm.
I wish for peace for Yemen.
Yes.
And that they can return to a normal, or as normal life as possible. Everybody deserves tranquility. I am present.
Yes.
I am present in that wish.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present. I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
I am present.
Okay, well, let's move along here, I guess. We have a hand up from Christian. Maybe he can go ahead and speak. Hello, Kristen. Did you want to allow you to talk there? You had your hand up there. You should be able to talk now if you wish. You have to unmute your microphone. Maybe Christian didn't want to put his hand up. Okay, well, let's move along, Caroline, or did we want to conclude for today? We were at the past the 3-hour mark now, or do you want to carry on?
I think this will be a nice closure with this wish for Yemen. There are a lot of souls in need there, and they're a beautiful people.
Is there a way we can formulate that wish to leave it in as a
starter? Yes, you can.
Some sort of place marker here. How could we word that? What is the wish for Yemen? What is the do we want to focus on the beauty of Yemen, or the wish for a better situation for Yemen?
I think for the country that we can, as she asked, for more time to formulate it in all its beauty. I think it will be a nice wish for them to be receiving tranquility, because they've been really badly disturbed for a long time. And maybe we can add to this wish, because there is something else which is going on with Yemen, and this is the point that they are trying to starve them. That we create the field strength of flowing abundance of food and medical support towards Yemen. That humanitarian aid can be opened up for Yemen to receive. So if you type it in the chart, and at the same time, I was wondering, Rick, can we place these pictures on that Word document, or is that not facilitated?
I believe we could. Let me see. I'll have to download it. Something here. Oops, shouldn't have done that. Let me see if I can do that somehow.
Because sometimes a picture tells more than 1,000 words.
Okay, let me get, oops, back to the share, the public wish. And let's see if I can put this here. There we go.
That humanitarian aid arrives at Yemen. Not can, because then we put the doubt on it. we wish for Yemen?
To be restored to tranquility and abundance?
Yeah.
Do you want to add that humanitarian aid arrives, or how do you want to put that?
Or gets delivered. I would keep it very short but very accurate. We wish for Yemen to restore tranquility and abundance, that humanitarian aid is delivered.
Tranquility and peace?
Yeah.
You want tranquility, peace, and abundance? Is that what you mean? Is there okay.
Or peace, tranquility, and abundance. First peace. With peace come everything.
It will start making us our charter of wishes very beautiful if we can add these beauties. It will start making it really nice. And what to start with this beauty? Thank you, Rick.
Well, that's a nice way to go out, I believe.
Yes. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you all for helping me with the wish.
Oh, you're not finished yet, darling. Next week we will receive your beauty of the country.
Yes, but I need your help, as I said, and I thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention, Barbara. Thank you.
Well, I also wanted to note before we go that we mentioned about wanting to have, world peace and about the war and so on. And there's been mentions of war happening recently. But we've also had, for the first time, the leader of North Korea has, for the first time, he's left his own country and gone to China to talk peace with the president of China. And I think that's a significant event that just came out of the blue last week. And, Kim Young from North Korea took his armored train to China and left the country for the first time in order to visit the president of China, President Xi, and talk about peace. And not only that, they talked about the denuclearization of the entire peninsula. So this is really big, actually. It means, what they mean by that is they want the US to not have nuclear weapons in that area, and they want North Korea to also give up their nuclear weapons. So this is significant. There's going to be pressure now on the US to withdraw their nuclear arms from that area, and probably many other areas too. So this is a significant news item that's come up this week, coincidentally, sort of out of the blue. The same as out of the blue, President Trump invited Putin from Russia to the White House. So 1 week we have them on the edge of nuclear war, and on the next week we have them inviting each other for peace talks and so on. So we live in a strange world, but it certainly is interesting and we're so fortunate to live in this time where such strange and ironic things can happen. And it makes the idea that world peace can really happen virtually overnight with when the circumstances and the environment is created. And that appears to be what is happening. That is our wish. And let us make it so. Okay, let's wrap things up for today. Thank you everybody for attending this 34th, One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. We'll have the 35th on April 10th, I believe, next week. And everybody's invited to please attend the Thursday Knowledge Seekers Workshop for very important announcements from the Keshe Foundation. And I think Flint's going to take us out on the Universal Council video, which is such a very lovely video. And I thank Flint especially for his hard work on that beautiful piece. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the messenger, not to oppose, but by them understanding through those who have become messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque than the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness by giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. Carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand, to be there to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle, which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.